I will pass it over to Mr. Rao to first introduce himself, and then I'll ask him the first question. Please, over to you, Mr. Rao.
Thanks, Nishant, and thanks, Girish, and great to be here. And between two technologists, totally, I think running your own software companies, I'm a practicing people manager, and technology is an aspect of our life and not the end of our life. And to just give a little introduction, having been in the HR fraternity for nearly 3 decades, having worked as head of HR in manufacturing, IT, technology services, pharmaceutical, and now in the projects fraternity. And I have been part of, when I've been around for 30 years, I'm sure I've seen the days when we worked with no computer in front of us to it. Moving from one to the other, because technology moves much faster than the pace at which we can change sometimes. So what kind of decision makings we go through, what kind of pains we go through, I think it's very interesting to know from a practicing perspective. Because a decision on a particular software is also not made in isolation for a function. It is made for a corporation in totality for different reasons. So how we went through those kind of things, I'm sure I'll be very keen to share some grappling to find answers. So I think I'm sure we can work together and figure out what all the ways which we can work together and help each other out. That's what briefly about me, and I'm sure Girish can come in and then we can see the next part.
Sure. So Girish, over to you. Thank you for your introduction, Mr. Rao.
And I'm sure Girish can come in and then we can see the next part.
Sure. So Girish, over to you. Thank you for your introduction, Mr. Rao. I think you're right. None of us have ever seen this. I don't think we ever want to see this again. The government is preparing for that. The healthcare systems are doing their bit. Hopefully, that helps us with any such problems for the future. So Girish, over to you, please.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Girish Raoji. I am the co-founder and CEO at Creative Software. Creative has been something where I started my career from. So we started out of college. So I don't have a long list of companies which I can tell where I have worked at. Creative has been all that I have been doing. For Creative, a brief intro. What we do is we provide HR and payroll solutions primarily to organizations in India. We have been through a couple of cycles. We moved from desktop, as Mr. Rao said, and then right now we provide a cloud-based solution. Primarily, what we do is help automate a lot of HR operations. This could be employee information management or leave administration, time office, and payroll. Of course, that's one of the basic needs, and so it's a fairly well practiced system. On top of it, we also ensure that a lot of compliances, statutory requirements, and everything are met. So this is one part of the application. The second part is where we bring in a lot of employee angle into HR processes, especially smaller businesses which are kind of starting the adoption curve. So we help them bring mobile apps, employee self-service. So many of these features are also part of the application. From a little bit of traction, we do work with about 9,000 clients and enable about 10 lakh payslips on the platform. So that's a brief intro about Creative. Happy to be here with Nishit and Mr. Rao. An honor to be among esteemed panel. So that's a brief about Creative.
Right, thank you. So, Mr. Rao, first question for you. A lot of things have changed. We've done a lot of implementation. A lot of enterprises we work for example, have implemented cloud HR. They've done various things in the HR space. I would like to understand from you what has changed during COVID and how our systems have helped us, or how do you think the cloud computing can really play a very interesting role in easing the life of the entire HR function, which is, I believe, the most important function for a technology company like ours, where we have 2,500 people. We've got to manage them, stay connected to them, and manage their workloads, pressures, etc. So please, over to you. Please tell us what's changed. What are your thoughts? Some experiences that will be interesting to hear.
No, what changed? I think. Let me explain to you where we are from. I mean, basically I represent a brick and mortar company. I think we are a projects company. We put up things which you can see and touch and feel. So ultimately, we make money by doing things on the ground. So when it happened on March 25th, if you look at it, an organization of our kind with around 10,000 odd people, and divided into different groups. We work at sites, we work in engineering centers, we work in project management, procurement cells, we work in factories. All four components come with us. There are two components where you cannot do without physically actually going down to work, which really suffered. There is nothing we could do about it because it came down. I think the sites and the manufacturing units came to a stop. The engineering centers and the project management centers which we have, where we have a significant chunk of people. I think interestingly, we thought we will not be able to work, but I think I would say that I think our IT has done a brilliant job. I think the very fact that prior to the lockdown, they were actually going around telling us that we should use Microsoft Teams or Zoom or whatever it is for internal communication and collaboration. But usually what happens is that they all fall in deaf ears. And they all take a little time to change. And overnight, I can tell you that how the organization has taken like fish to the water. And the Office 365 on the cloud and the kind of Microsoft Teams that have been used, and the number of meetings, the number of collaborative events, the number of actions that took place in the next 15 days after we got over the initial shock of getting into a mode which we are not used to, and then starting off and getting ourselves prepared by making it available to some of the people who do not have that kind of access. I think they did a brilliant job in getting it done. And once we were there, I think we could just get off the ground and then do whatever is normally we do. I think the people who are in engineering could do their engineering, the design people could do a design, and we had actually shifted a lot of heavy duty computers to homes of the people, but actually at the same time created the VPN network, and so that they can actually log into some of the heavy duty on-premise systems which we have, the shared licenses they need to use. But majority of the office-based personnel could actually engage in whatever they did. They could communicate, they could collaborate, they could share, they could work on documents, they could do things, they could hold their meetings, they can just take it forward. I think it actually enabled us to believe that we are very adaptable. Maybe we don't test that adaptability at certain times. The agility comes to the fore with respect to that. But having said that, yes, certain parts of the organization had to go through and wait till such time the things open up where physically people have to come to workplace. And there they went through all the pains associated with migrating, reverse migration, remobilization, repatriation, all those things which you would have seen in the newspapers and in the TV. I think we had to engage with all those kind of activities. But in terms of the technology, I think being on the cloud, I think whether be it in HR space specifically, I think it was awesome because we were on a cloud software by which we could actually seamlessly deliver most of the operations. I think that was wonderful, whether it be the operations which we talk about, what Girish was talking about, the time office, the payroll, or basically the leave administration, the people engagement, the performance management, the rewards, and various things, including events have been organized, the celebrations have been organized during that period, although albeit very less. But I think it was a very interesting thing in the sense that we realized that we have a lot of capabilities which we were not tapping into earlier. And we suddenly discovered that I think the organization was ready to a certain level in certain pockets of it. And we quickly ramped up after the initial shock and denial that this kind of a thing can't be happening to us. How can we do things? How can we actually work? And so on and so forth. But people realized. And then we realized that in some places the productivity has gone higher. Work from home actually with remote access from everywhere, things have improved significantly. But of course, it has its own pains. I think I'm making it look a little easy, but it was not the same between March to April. Maybe April onwards, we got into a little better action. And then slowly, I think we got used to that kind of the new way of working. I mean, there are many things are there, but I think I'll go back later and answer it later once I think we get into more questions.